The deadlift needs no introduction, so let's get started mastering the technique. Start with the bar roughly an inch away from your shin, with your feet about hip width apart and the toes pointing straight ahead. Bend down so your shin meets the bar and grab it directly outside your legs, and so that your hands are fully on the knurling, or rough part of the bar. If you have part of your hand on the smooth, you will have a much worse grip and the bar may slip from your hands. There are two main grips that you might want to use: the mixed grip and the hook grip. The mixed grip has one of your hands in an overhand grip and the other in an underhand grip. It doesn't matter which is which, that just depends on whatever is most comfortable to you. The hook grip involves you wrapping your thumb under the bar and bringing the rest of the fingers over it, creating a clamp. I would use the hook grip if you have pretty big hands and you're also worried about the mixed grip causing imbalances in your shoulders. Now, that is a minor concern, but your shoulders are experiencing different forces as your hands are in different positions. Now that we have the basic hand and foot position, we need to pull the bar into ourselves as hard as we can using the lats. A good cue is to try and prevent someone from tickling you by closing off your armpit. If you are having trouble feeling this, utilizing the following drill with a band or cable machine will help. Keep the arms straight and pull back and hold for a few seconds. You will feel the muscles in your lats and upper back get nice and tight. We want to replicate that down at the deadlift bar. As you're pulling that bar into you hard with the lats and creating tension there, you also want to start pushing into the ground with your legs, creating tension through your whole body. The bar at lighter weights when you're warming up may even come off the ground a little bit, but you're not trying to lift the bar yet, you're just creating full body tension. This is called pulling the slack from the bar. This is also when you take your breath and brace the abdominals hard. See our video in the card above on how to breathe and brace properly. The whole process takes like half a second in someone good at the deadlift, but it is crucial you take a proper breath, engage the lats, and create tension with your legs before going all out and lifting the weight. Now that you have a perfect start position and know how to create tension, the only thing there is to do is actually lift the weight. And I don't really think of creating tension and lifting the weight as two separate things. It's that once we start creating tension, then we just slowly keep pushing harder and harder into the ground. The bar eventually leaves the ground and we continue to push and accelerate through to that lockout position. Now, as we push harder and the bar lifts from the ground, we want to think about pushing the ground away from us and keeping our hip angle constant and back flat. We don't want the hips to rise too fast, which for some people will feel easier and like a stronger position. However, that will put you in a much worse position to lock out at the top as the weight gets heavier. The same could be said for rounding the back and not staying locked into place, except this also increases injury risk substantially. You have to resist the urge to do what feels easy in the deadlift and maintain good position. It may feel slow and grindy, but stay in position and just keep pushing. We want to lock in at the beginning and then nothing should move except the knees and hips extending to the lockout position. Keep the bar as close to you as possible throughout the whole lift. We must continue pulling the bar into us using the lats. Sometimes I see athletes who will keep it close early in the lift and then it will drift away from them as they pass the knee. Keeping the lats engaged and not shooting the hips back really help with this. Keep the arms straight throughout the whole lift. Bending the arms puts all the stress on our little bicep tendons and drastically increases the chance you tear your bicep. That is one of the worst injuries you can get, and just search YouTube for some examples to scare you straight. As far as locking out, as you pass the knees, think about driving the hips forward hard and locking out with the knees and hips reaching full extension at the same time. If not, you end up typically with the knees already locked out and the hips still behind you, putting all the stress on your glutes and lower back. At heavy weights, you could get 2 inches from the top and just never lock it out. I always tell the younger kids I work with to really squeeze the butt cheeks together as you drive. Just make sure at the top you don't overextend. We just want to bring ourselves to a neutral spine position. Now on the way down, just do everything in reverse. Take a breath, pull the bar close to you, push your hips back, and start bending the knees. Lower under control, especially as you're learning, and focus on making it look identical in reverse to the raising portion. Now, putting everything together from start to finish, we have a perfect deadlift. I will be doing a video on some of my favorite drills to help with these positions shortly, but nothing beats good practice. Video yourself lifting and try identifying where you still need improvements. Master the positioning first before worrying too much about the weight. In the deadlift, you can move serious poundages and a lot of people end up hurting their backs. It isn't because they were too strong or the deadlift deadlift is bad for your back, but typically because they didn't do it correctly. If you are impatient and rush it just to add a few more pounds, you'll be one of the guys who used to deadlift. If you want to get really strong, you have to train for years. You can't rush that process. You'll see a lot of crappy 400-pound deadlifts, but not many crappy 600-pound deadlifts, because anyone who had to train long enough and heavy enough to get a 600-pound deadlift, if they had crappy technique, they didn't make it that long. The deadlift, if done correctly, can be a very powerful exercise for improving strength, muscle mass, and your athletic ability. If there are any other lifts that you want technique tutorials on, please let me know in the comments. Also leave me a comment if you have other video topics, like this video, and please subscribe to the Immortal Power channel.